when you look at Mandy Rose getting fired, Riddle being suspended, these are just a few incidents that make us wonder, does WWE have a really big double standard problem? But first, hit my music. Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Steven Ramon with Unscripted Wrestling Media, back at you again with another video. Alright, so today we got to talk about, does WWE have a big problem with double standards? Okay, that seems to be a hot topic of discussion when we look at what happened recently with Mandy Rose being released for her nude content that she was posting. So a lot of people feel like, maybe WWE kind of has a double standard because on one hand, this was a valid point that I read. On one hand, you had WWE pretty much telling women to be sexy. Keep in mind that Mandy Rose's whole gimmick was a goddess, okay, or a sex symbol. That was her whole gimmick. Mandy Rose, the character, the gimmick was always meant to be packaged and pushed towards the male audience. That's just a fact that no one can deny. So she ends up, I guess you want to say, taking the gimmick too far, whatever, who knows? Don't really matter, but that was the gimmick that you gave her, okay? So when she starts doing things that are actually in line with the gimmick, she gets released. Now, the reason people brought that into question was more so, was this another example of WWE being upset because they can't get a piece of the pie that Mandy was getting? Who knows? Could be. Another issue of double standard would be, but this is actually the main point that I'm making this video, because I saw this and it just didn't sit right. Someone said that there's a double standard with WWE because on one hand you have Riddle, who just failed a drug test and has subsequently been sent to rehab. Then on the other hand you have Jimmy Uso. We know his history. Mind you that he had a really big DUI incident, and then it just, he came back, didn't really get punished, at least on screen. Matter of fact, he ended up being made tag team champion. That's neither here nor there. So that's the thing that people have been asking is, does WWE have a problem enforcing the rules equally across the board? And yeah, they do. They really do. Now, with the Riddle and Uso situation, it's kind of the same, but it's not. And here's what I mean. Okay. So one, typically according to the wellness policy, if a superstar pops on a piss test, then it has to be announced, okay, of their suspension. Now, the second or third time it happens or whatever, that you either go to rehab or you get released, okay? Here's the problem. It was never announced that Riddle had failed a drug test previously, okay? So is that a cover-up in and of itself? Not to mention that Riddle, when you look at his gimmick, what's Riddle's gimmick? Stoner, weed smoker, pothead, whatever you want to call it. Either which way it go, it's a person that does drugs. So you have a superstar that you give a gimmick of doing drugs, and then when they do drugs and pop on the piss test, they get forced to go to rehab? Don't get it. Either way, not saying that those people that if they do pop on these tests and they have to go to rehab, by all means you should definitely go. We've seen way too many superstars, careers, lives be cut short from addiction, abuse. So by all means, go to rehab. Personally, I would love if guys would just leave this stuff alone altogether, but just go to rehab. All right. Either which way it go, back to the topic. It's just a little bit interesting to me to see that when WWE creates these larger than life gimmicks, that they seem to be surprised when the characters or the people playing the characters tend to conflate the character in real life and act accordingly. I don't get it. But the more confusing part is, how do we pick and choose when and where we apply the rules? Just saying, because this isn't the first time that WWE has demonstrated a double standard policy. Keep in mind, did anybody forget that Austin Theory just had a new leak situation about 2 years ago? He was never released. I don't even think he was ever buried for it. But Mandy Rose has one and she gets released. Not to mention that even last October, there was an edict put out that got leaked that after NXT 2.0 with Vince McMahon taking over, and the word on the street was simply that they wanted the women to dress sexier. So in regards to the Mandy Rose situation, the double standard thing to me is either one or two gray areas. They either mad that she was making the money off her name and likeness and they couldn't make it. I said one or two. But honestly, that's the only one. Because if WWE would have been legally allowed to make money off that, they would have did it, no problem. I mentioned in my original video about Mandy Rose, you had multiple other female superstars for the company posing Playboy, and it was never an issue. In regards to the Usos, I guess it's a situation of who you know. Or, I don't know. It's double standards, straight up. And you gotta be real tricky doing this, because that's when the workplace politics creep up, and before you know it, you got a locker room like you had back in the day of the sort of clique. The only people that suffer in the end are the fans. All right, that's gonna do it for me. Hey, you already know the deal. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hop down in the comment section, show your boy some love. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Hit that bell icon, turn on notifications so when I post, you won't miss an upload. I'm playing. I know which way it go. That's it. And you already know. Until next time, stay savage, my friends. Peace.